Divine evening, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers, and soul journers of truth, all light workers, light warriors, the 144, chosen of the chosen of the chosen few. I greet you in the love that lights the truth. This is Aquila Textry, and I am here to bring to you the galactic news and with an astrological twist. I'm actually here to bring to you information about the great cosmic shift. That's what I want to talk about at this moment because there is a shift ahead of us. And it involves us bringing in this new age. And that's a really exciting time. I'm actually really excited right now because this is the first time I'm doing an astrological type, forecast type view and spin on how we're bringing in the 5D consciousness, and as it has been shown to me, so I'm going to share it with you, along with offering you I want to say some helpful tools, a workshop that has some helpful tools at the end of this. I believe it ties into all of what is happening as we're bringing in these new energies. So it's getting prepared for the great cosmic shift, and this full moon, upcoming full moon, plays an important part in how we are going to be interacting with these energies, or how these energies are interacting with us. And I shouldn't say or, it's and, because it's both ways. This entire universe is very intrinsic, so it's how we are sharing these energies. So this is really important information. It's a very pivotal and critical time for how we are entering into the new age, and this moon is definitely, the celestials around the time of this full moon are in placements where it's affording us the opportunity, if we choose to, like I said, very pivotal, very critical, but however we choose to move with these energies determines how we're going to be experiencing what comes after that, or what we experience through it as well as coming out of it. So with that, I'm just going to go right into it. The biggest thing about this what is the great cosmic shift is Pluto entering into Aquarius. It is finally shifting into a new sign, and Pluto is really being gentle with us. Pluto bringing the revelations, the power to the people. So a lot of shifts are going to be happening at multiple levels in different ways, individually and collectively. So it's how we interact with that, how we're taking that in. And Pluto is, when I say it's being gentle with how it dips in and out, because it's not just going to stay in Aquarius. It definitely is ushering us in the Aquarius time. Right now we're feeling effects of it as we're in the last degrees of Capricorn, and when there's an ending of something, there's always some uncomfortableness as we enter into something new, because there are things that we have to let go. In order to have something new, we got to let go of something old. The old must fall away. So it's going to step into Aquarius, but it's going to pivot back. It's going to dip in just enough, because the thing is, when it does, it causes great shift. Like when these energies move, it also moves within us, where it's very intrinsic. The universe is also within us, so the energy interacts with us. So we can only handle but so much. This is how I see it. I'm like, oh, you so nice, Pluto. Thank you for not just flooding us with your revelations, because revelations can be a lot. So it's bringing us into these times of revelations, and I don't mean revelations like the book of Revelations, but just revealings, truths coming forward, truths from us and the people, and returning power. It's the truth that brings us to restoring power, restorational truth, if we choose to see it like that, because some people just don't like to hear truth, even if it helps. So it's going to dip back in Capricorn in a couple of months after that. So it's going to, it's like it's going to pour us into Aquarius age. We're going to have it for maybe about 2.5, 3 months, and then it's going to pull back into Capricorn. Let us kind of have a rest, or, kind of breathe easy, and then it's going to dip back in. It's going to kind of do that all the way up until, I believe, about 2026, and when it finally stays into Aquarius. But I want to focus on this month. So this month is really critical, because the full moon is really important, pivotal time to help us before we even get to the great cosmic shift that is going to shift things. Another important shift is going to be when Saturn goes into Pisces. Saturn has been in Capricorn for the past 3 years. And as you can see, what's been happening for the past 3 years, because Saturn represents that authority. So it top down restrictions, shut it down. And that's why you saw what happened in 2020. And so now it's coming to the end of Capricorn, and it's taking us into Pisces. It's also preparing us, leading us up to the Aquarian age. In order for us to be ready for that, we got to tear down some old paradigms from, what we've been traveling with. So when it comes into Capricorn, it's like, okay, we gonna look at authority, shut it down, all these things. And now it's gonna go into Pisces. So right now, as Saturn is in, is it Pisces? No, I might be, it's not Pisces. It's going into Pisces. So Saturn will be going in there at about, let me make sure I got it right. Saturn in Pisces, yeah. That's what it's entering. So it's actually coming out of, I did say Pisces. I might have meant to say Aquarius. So it's coming into Pisces. And when it does, it's going to shut down. It's going to shut down some things. It's going to shut down. And I don't mean like lockdown, shut down. But the authority is really going to bring in some, let's say, some things into the spiritual realm. Because we got to really look at what Pisces is. Pisces is like the spiritual state, the dreamer state. And it brings you into that, let's say, the real spiritual realm. So now Saturn shifting into Pisces is bringing the authority into that realm. And think about what may be shutting down. There may be religious things. There are going to be, definitely going to see some things come to light. And it's going to show where there may be on the spiritual spectrum. It's like, it's going to be like, shut that down. On a not so nice end, it may be trying to shut down other spiritual avenues. But these energies are really here to help us. So even if it's shutting down some things, it's here to bring us to what is really for us. It's here to bring us to what we're really here to get to, what we're going to be ready for with that cosmic shift. So at the time of the full moon, at the exact time of the full moon, the planets that are going to be in Pisces are Neptune, Venus, and Pluto. Of course, we know Pluto's on the end, at the end, coming out of it, ready to jump out. But Venus being in Pisces, Neptune is the ruler of ruling planet of Pisces, Neptune and Jupiter, but mainly Neptune now. And Neptune is about illusions. It's very similar traits as Pisces, spiritual, the dreamer, illusions. And if not, and if not checked, it can bring you into a state of illusions, delusions, and you can get caught up in the myriad of illusions if not checked. So this is something where, as it's in Pisces, it's in the spiritual, it's like doubling up on the spiritual, which is good. We just have to have that healthy balance. And that's what the good in Saturn is. Because as Saturn comes in, Saturn comes to bring that, hold up, let's check this out. Let's look at it. And so, and Venus, of course, being the planet of beauty and love, as we just had the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Pisces, with the moon at say it was the moon at, you guys all saw the stars, people saw them. It's bringing that the love part of relationships and beauty and material and things like that. But the important part that we really need, excuse the loud background, is what will be joining them is Mercury and Saturn. Mercury and Saturn is, well, we spoke about Saturn, but Mercury is the communication. So we have a couple of planets that's going to be in Pisces that's really helping us through. That's helping us into the spiritual state. That's the way I look at it. A lot of these planets are helping us be spiritual. Be spiritual, get spiritual, tap into the spiritual. The word is, what we're going to be looking at is trusting the unknown of the spiritual realm. That's what we're going to need to help catapult us through into the next age, because a lot of us are used to wanting to know everything. And so as we go into the next age, it's willing to trust, because we don't know. We don't know what's in the Aquarian age. We don't know what's in the new earth, 5D new earth that we're walking into. It can feel very shaky, but what will prepare you is if you prepare yourself to trust the unknown, to trust the spiritual realm. And so all of these planets, ultimately what they're doing is they're preparing us to trust that they're preparing us to trust what is ahead, even though we don't know it. And it's going to take dealing with trusting that spiritual aspect, trusting to not have it logical all the time, which brings me to my full moon. The full moon is in Virgo while the sun is in Pisces. So in that opposition, you have Pisces, which is really a earthy planet, really practical, wants to know the details, like, show me the proof. And then it's Pisces, which is in the sun is in Pisces, which is of course the spiritual dreamer, creative aspect. So it's bringing that balance together. It's showing a reflection of that. But what's being invited more in this interaction with all the planets is, even though Virgo is like, let's look at this way, most of the concentration is going to be on trying to get us to be more spiritual. So not so caught up in the details. It's going to want to bring us the details and look at these details. For some people, these details are going to be the details that come with Virgo are going to be more of a balance. For those who are drifters and floating away, because we can't all be in dream state. Those are people who may be doubling up with the Neptune to Pisces energy, and they may need some of that Virgo balance to kind of say, hey, we need to look at this. But we don't want to be caught up on the details. We want to be invited into the more of the Pisces energy of the spiritual aspect. We want to expand our trust in the spiritual aspect. And Virgo helps bring that balance in as well. And so a really, really important part is, before we could go into the new earth, the new age, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done, that we need to let go of. And one of the important aspects, celestials, bodies, are Jupiter and Chiron conjunction, which will be maybe around the 9th or 12th, somewhere between there. Chiron is like the wounded healer. And so anytime Chiron is in play, it's about healing your wounds. So yes, you may hear some people talking about, releasing and being healed, and it's going to bring the healing. It's not the healing that's just going to come. It's going to be a revelation. There's nothing, as I always say, there's nothing to be healed, only truth to be revealed. So when a healing is coming, know that a true healing involves a true revealing, revealed to heal. So things are going to come up that we need to look at, and in these revealings we will get a healing. So it is through this that we will be able to catapult through. Like, this is going to be like right behind the full moon. So this is why it's a real pivotal point. If we are wise, we will utilize this time to do our full moon work. If there's full moon work that you do, which I always suggest, shadow work. I always suggest doing any type of shadow work. I have a really noisy background. Excuse that. But the shadow work is going to help you be prepared and be ready for what is to come. So all of this, like Mercury, another thing that stood out to me was Mercury being in play, because Mercury is communication. And so right now, whether you guys know it or not, the galactics, they are intercommunicating with us. Our ancestors, our angels, however you want to look at it, that veil is thin, so they're communicating with us. And it really, Mercury is going to help that in the state of Pisces. As that communication is in Pisces, in the spiritual state, it's inviting us in. So between that time, between like the 16th and the 31st, that's where around that time that Mercury is going to be in Pisces, it will allow us to, or invite us, or open us up more to that intercommunication, to those who are open, because it only happens if you're open. And if you can be open, it's why most of the time it happens in a dream state or in visions. We get intuitive hits, we get synchronicities, but the communication is going to get a little bit louder when Mercury is in Pisces. So there's a lot of strong energy that's going to happen. The main two strong ones are Saturn going into Pisces, which is bringing that authority into that area. And then there is Pluto going into Aries around the equinox and the new moon around that time. So it is really ideal if we utilize the first half of the month. Is really important, those first 2 weeks, to do any serious shadow work. This is where we are going to be doing the work of pulling up things, finding inner childhood wounds, pulling up core wounds. This is what Chiron does. And Jupiter conjunct Chiron is, Jupiter is expansion. It is expanding Chiron's ability to bring you your wounds that need to be healed. So it's a lot of releasing. We have to, the key things is allowing ourselves to be free to feel, allowing ourselves to feel our feelings, because our feelings are bringing something to us. Don't be afraid to cry. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Healthy tears allow you to release and let go, so that we can be better prepared to transition into that shift, if that makes sense. Another thing to look at is Chiron. And looking at Chiron, right? Chiron is in this Jupiter Chiron conjunct is actually not in Pisces, it's in Aries, but it's going to be conjunct around that time. The conjunction is around the time in March. But while it's in Aries, know that Chiron has been in Aries for, I think, around sometime last year. So it's already been working on us and removing some wounds from the age of the ram, so to speak, because being in Aries is known as, for those who understand the ages, the age of the ram is the age from Aries. And from that time, that is before the Piscean age. That is when we took on those properties as mankind. Humanity took on those qualities of the ego. And not that the ego is bad. We needed our ego to gain our identity on a new level. It's still about evolution. However, the shadows of the ego were all about conquering and the things that we see now of the patriarchal rule. So Chiron being there now is having a healing from what has been taking place since the age of the ram. And so this is why a lot of people have been feeling the works of, I know the sun is going down. This is why a lot of people have been feeling the working on the ego. A lot of us have been feeling like, I need to pull some stuff up, or I need to deal with that. So this is what Chiron has been bringing. So it come all the way to this point now. It's like, now is the time. With Jupiter expanding it now, right before we go into this next shift or phase, it's really giving us the opportunity to, okay, wrap it up. You've been working on this, getting rid of the misappropriated ego, death to the ego, as some of us would say. But it's not that we want to get rid of it. We just want to humbleize it and raise it to its wise ego. But that takes getting rid of the wounds. As long as you have a wound, you feel hurt. There's hurt there. And so the ego wants to protect that. So it's hard to stabilize the ego when you still have wounds. So it's very important and critical that we utilize Chiron as it brings things up for us. That's the most important, to me, one of the most important part. Whenever I see Chiron in something, I'm looking to be like, okay, what needs to be healed, and what is it going to bring up, and through what areas, through what means, through what properties. So this is all really, really important in an intrinsic time for us right now. And with that said, I want to invite us, those who are interested in working through these energies. This is a very accelerated time. It's pivotal, and the frequencies are moving faster and faster and faster for those of us entering into 5D. I mean, we all are, but those who are aware of it. The solar flares are bringing things down faster. The frequencies are just really speeding up. So it's really critical for us to make the move, to make a decision. And for those who don't, of course, some people may fall into the shadows of when these energies kick up. They're going to be repelling it and fighting it. But you're in a better position when you go with the flow of these energies and allow these energies to help you traverse through. So with that, the tools that I have to offer is a workshop called Divine Chakra Moon Workshop, and I will put it in the description below so that you can have a chance to sign up, if you will. And it's really about dealing with these energies, harnessing these energies. The energy centers, it's through the chakras, which are your energy centers, as well as the energy of the celestials, harnessing the energy from the moon and the other planets that we just spoke about, of what is to come, and also utilizing our soul consciousness aspect. And so with that, We're able to transmute our fears, because that's what it feels. When things come up and shake us, fears come up, and then there goes the ego, right? So how are we going to balance that ego? So these are really important tools that I've been working for the past 2 years now, with this and with other people, in transmuting their fears and unlocking your soul code. It's a very cool, what I would say, a very intense or cool, it's a shadow working tool. That's what I call it. Really, really good shadow working tool of how to get into your soul, because that's what these intrinsic energies do. So with that said, as it's getting darker and darker, I'm going to close out. I greet you all in the love that lights the truth. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out, and be the candle that lights the next one, and the next one, and the next one.